Welcome to the Classic City Business Podcast. Our mission, to connect our community to the local business owner. If you love Athens and love supporting the people behind our businesses, then you're in the right place. We get to know the people behind the sign. Some are legends, others are on their way. You're listening to the Classic City Business Podcast with your friend, your host, all-around great guy and owner of Generations Commercial Cleaning, John Gluck. So get ready, buckle up, hang on, here we go. Hey guys, so this is part 2 of our interview with Laura Whitaker from ESP. We're going to pick up right where we left off. So here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was really right after we launched the 2 cities, ESP. We had put together a 5-year sabbatical policy. And for me, you know, I was tired. It was 2020. We never closed our doors. We delivered 10,000 meals, diapers, medication, had to lead people through that, called all of our families. I mean, it was a very challenging time for everybody, but as a leader to actually have to lead my family, worry about my own safety and worry about all the safety of my staff and then all of our families, the things that we heard during that time, it was just hard. And it was a lot. It was a burden that I was really shouldn't have been carrying, but I was quite honestly carrying it. And it was affecting my health. It was affecting my marriage. It was affecting my kids. So wise counsel, I'm a big fan of mentorship. And my mentor was like, you have to take your sabbatical. I kept pushing it off. So right before that, I had read a book that you alluded to. It's called Rocket Fuel. And Rocket Fuel is really speaks to entrepreneurs and people that love to build things and aren't necessarily wired to operate the things that they build, but they're great at building things. So here I was, I'm a builder, I'm a visionary, and but had built this thing that I was operating. And that was part of the challenge was I was in the wrong seat. I had built it to a place that I was then sitting in the wrong seat, and I couldn't do what I feel like God had created me to do, which was to cast vision and to grow and to build, inspire, all of those things. And so it was part of really the challenge. And so when I read Rocket Fuel, I was like, oh my gosh, there's another way. You see, I thought that I had outgrown the organization or the organization had outgrown me. And what I realized was, no, there actually is a system, a process, an operational model where you can have a visionary and you can have an integrator that's operating the business and let the visionary go do what they should do while the operator, the integrator, blocks and tackles and runs the organization. And so that is when we began. We are not done. We are a year in, but we are moving in the direction of me being that full V, which really is where I come alive. And I think what's in the best interest of ESP is for me to be in that seat.
Okay, fair enough. And you know what? I wanted to go into this a little deeper, but I think I'm going to make an executive decision and pause it.
Yeah.
Because if you allow me to, I'd love to come back sometime in the future, maybe in a couple of months, and sit down with you and Ashley.
Yes.
And talk about that dynamic.
Yeah.
And guys, I want you to catch this. Many of us, it struck a chord with me. You know, you try to build something and you get stuck and you start spinning your wheels and get fatigued.
Yes.
And I say sometimes, I think most times, because we miss what we need to be doing and we need to have somebody else doing the things that we're not good at.
Yeah.
And in fact, Rocket Fuel, I actually got that book because of that podcast. So thank you, Chad and Josh for having you.
Well, and you mentioned something really important, which is a good leader is self-aware about what they can do and what they shouldn't be doing. And I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we think we can do everything, right? And then it gets to a certain point where you're like, the organization's kind of outgrown me in some of these areas. Be self-aware enough to know where my seat is and where I fit within the organization and where I don't.
Yeah, so that's really interesting and a little teaser.
Yeah.
So when we come back, and now I've invited myself. So
I love it.
We'll talk about some of that. When you take the step, you're relinquishing a role, and there's a dynamic to that. Like, those are the fun stories. Those are the fun.
There's a lot of them. Yep.
So I want to talk to you about that and what that looks like, because no, this is what we should be doing. No, that's not your role anymore. Yep. It's like,
Yep.
And then when you find out this, and again, a little teaser, we'll get into it obviously on that episode, but it's funny because you find out that that's probably best.
Yeah.
You know, it goes from where your heart is, where you just want to get it done, to, hey, there's a system, as you said.
Strategy.
There's a strategy to it. So anyway, we'll jump to the next segment. We're both feet at this point, all right? It's all about you.
All in.
You ready?
Yes.
What is something about Laura Whitaker that maybe some of the people you work with close to you that may not know, they might be surprised to learn that, I don't know, you had a special talent as a kid or something?
Oh,
Anything.
gosh. That people that I work with don't know.
Yeah. So full disclosure, when I get that answer, they're usually the best answers.
Yeah.
Because they go, oh, you know what?
The first thing that comes to my mind, two things. One, my husband is 7.5 years older than me. And most people don't realize that we met on a blind date. He was best friends with my campus minister when I was in college, and God just knew I needed to get married pretty early. And so I got married my senior year of college, and never looked back. And I'm very thankful to have a husband that's 7.5 years older than me. Second to that is I still sleep with my baby blanket that I got when I first was born in the hospital.
Okay, so that's a great answer. And so, honey, I hope you're listening to this episode, because when we got engaged, I don't think I've told this story, not that anyone cares, but I followed her out to California on a girls' trip. She didn't know I was coming. The girls knew about it, guys.
Okay, I was about to say, that's creepy.
Yeah, thanks. That's a whole nother episode. And we'll be back right after this. No, I coordinated with the girlfriends, and when they got there, I met her on the beach. She wasn't expecting me, and that's where I proposed. But that's a whole other story. But so that was out in California. I've done this again. I literally got so excited about the story that I forgot where I was going with this. But
what had to do with baby blanket?
Baby blanket. Thank you. Again, I don't know how I do the show without you.
Yeah,
I might have to take you with me.
I'm here for it.
But I got a blanket while we were out there that was handmade by some hippies out there.
Love it.
And I like sleeping with that thing.
Yeah.
It's like a security blanket. And I'm over 50. We'll just leave it at that.
You know, we're laying it all out here.
Yeah.
There is still somebody that's listening still sleeps with their baby blanket, guaranteed.
Yeah, or their little stuffed animal.
And I hope they'll tell me. I hope they'll pop in my DMs and Instagram and make it okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's bring awareness to the baby blankets. Yes.
So that was really brave of you to share that.
It's a hard world. We gotta find comfort where we can.
Did
you know
your
what I'm
husband
saying?
give you a hard time about that?
Not a single time.
Oh, he's a good man.
What's funny is my mom made it into a pillow when we came back from our honeymoon, because she's like, you can't sleep with a baby blanket anymore.
That's funny.
And I ripped it apart and turned it back into a blanket.
Oh my gosh, that is commitment.
It's commitment. It is what it is.
What is the thing, and I'm going to ask this question because it's on here, but I'm shaking my head, people, because I think I know the answer already, but you know what, maybe not. What's the thing in your life that you're most proud of? The fact that you paused made me think it was a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer is everything around here, right? But actually, it's not. I think through the last 18 years, as we all have been through heartache and illness and all kinds of things, and I would say my faith is the thing that I'm the most proud of. The fact that I'm still able to be faithful and believe in the God that I serve is probably the most thing that I'm proud of, and something I hope that my children one day will, if they can't emulate anything, even things around here, I hope that they will emulate loving our Father in heaven. And that's probably the thing that I'm the most proud of, because it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. Especially in today's world, right? Yeah. So since you put it that way, because you said continue to, so when did you make a decision to follow? Really, middle school was kind of my time. And again, you can probably rewind it back to when I was talking about my parents. It was very much something my parents modeled, but I had to figure it out for myself in college. Right. Yeah. And then being here and experiencing heartache, and marriage is hard, and raising kids are hard. And, we've moved churches. And I think through all of that, people will always fail you, and because we're humans, and I do it to others. I've failed people. But if I can continue to look up, I think any good thing that has happened here is because of him. And I hope that one day people won't see me when they think about ESP. They will see Jesus when they look here. And we're not outward about that. There's no mission statement that includes that. But when you're here, you experience the kingdom and diversity and beauty and all of his goodness. And so it's been a big part of the journey here at ESP. And I think had I not remained faithful, I don't know that we would be where we are. And I think God gets to be the hero in all of this. And so, I think that's the thing that I'm most proud of.
Well said. I love that. What is your favorite thing? And this is a personal question that's about business.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing? You only get one. This is the hard line. Your favorite thing about what you do?
My favorite thing about what I do is watching the exchange happen. So it's happening outside this door. It happens at Java Joy. It happens with a board member, with our participants. It happens with me every day. I just ran into Nikki and he gave me a big hug. It's this exchange of ability and ultimately exchange of joy that I get to watch happen every day. We live in much more of a virtual world these days, and you can't get that type of joy from an Instagram like or a video that you watch or anything that you listen. It's true human connection. And I think that exchange that happens between someone with a disability and someone without a disability is, whether it happens to me or I get to watch it happen, it's my favorite thing about being here.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding.
Very.
Who does Laura Whitaker admire most?
Gosh, this is a hard one.
On Earth.
On Earth.
Somebody who's influenced you and impacted you, maybe.
I've had so many great mentors over the years. Specifically, one of my mentors right now, who would not want me to share his name, but he's been an incredible inspiration to me. I think about my parents. Ultimately, though, and you're going to say this is cheesy when I say it, but I married the opposite person of who I am. And my husband is the most gentle, content, peaceful human being on this planet. And I look up to him every single day, just in how he's an amazing dad. He's an amazing husband. I wouldn't still be here at ESP if it weren't for him. He loves God. He is incredibly humble and never wants any kind of attention to him. And he would die if he listened to this podcast and knows that I'm talking about him.
I'm telling on you.
Oh, you should. So somebody send him the podcast, because if I send it to him, he won't listen to it.
I'm going to cut this clip out. We're going to
please do.
Yeah.
But he is probably the person I look up to the most here on earth. And I am fortunate that I get to look up to him every day.
Laura, that's beautiful. Especially today. We talk about the world we're living in, and people talk about their spouses and, say these things. I can see it in your eyes. I mean, you really do. You're grateful.
Yeah.
And, I don't get that a lot. I love it. Thank you for sharing that too. All right. This is more for fun.
Okay. Let's do it.
What is your dream vacation? And here's a little add-on to that. What is the perfect length of vacation? Assuming you haven't come back to work, not sabbatical, but like a vacation. 2
weeks, perfect time. And dream vacation, I really haven't traveled much out of the U.S. Been kind of busy around here. Yeah. But I really want to go to Tanzania. So I took Swahili in college.
Wow.
And ever since then, I've wanted to go to Tanzania. I love elephants. I want to go to like a safari resort type thing, but then I also want to go to some of the local villages. And that is like my dream vacation would be to go on a safari.
That sounds really cool. That's a good answer. We have reasons and motives behind asking all these questions because I'm really trying to bolster something that I think, right? So it's all about me.
Right. Sure.
No, I've actually had this discussion with different guests, and we've got a consensus going now. It's anywhere between 10 days and 2 weeks because you need to have a little bit on the front end to plan. And when you come home, you want to come home right at the end. You need to come home and get unpacked, unwind, reset your mind.
Yes. And it takes me about a week to unwind. And to
wow.
Yes.
I was thinking a few days. But
no, it takes me like a week to get this place kind of off my mind. And
this place, by the way, she's doing circles around her head. Yeah. Yes. Oh, this place, you mean the ESP itself?
Yes, okay. ESP itself. It's just such a part of who I am. So yeah, the next week is the true vacation. Also, kids or no kids? That is the question. Is it a vacation if you have the kids?
So that is so funny that you bring that up because I actually had more than one guest ask me that before they answered the question.
Right.
Am I taking the kids?
Right. It's a trip with the kids. Although mine are getting old enough now where they're a lot of fun to travel with. Toddlers, no. So I have a 5, 10, and 14-year-old.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're getting pretty fun.
Yeah. There's certain ages that are better than others, for sure. And I don't need to say what ages they are because if you're parents of those, you know exactly what that age is.
Right.
So that's fair enough. All right. I'm really excited to ask you this. And I know that Rocket Fuel was huge.
Yeah.
Right. But do you have a favorite book or maybe not a mentor, but a speaker or somebody who said something that from a business standpoint, as an individual, we're doing the personal side, but that you're like, man, that was life changing. Like you took it with you and it impacted how you do your life. Yeah. Is that too deep?
2 quick things come to mind. The first, if you've never read The Power of Moments, it's an amazing book. The premise of it is you're creating these small moments that really are transformative. And a lot of it's about customer service, but it really, we read it together as a team 5 or 6 years ago and really changed kind of how we operate around here. The second is, I listen to a lot of things, read a lot of things. I'm always inspired by Brené Brown, but one impactful thing that she said a couple years ago that has just always stuck with me is using the language of recognizing that there's a story that's going on in my head that may not be the true story. So the example of it would be, I have an awkward interaction with an employee. And so how I deal with it is, the story in my head is, you're feeling a little frustrated with me about something. And then they go, yeah, I kind of am. Or most of the time it's, no, I just, had a bad day or slept weird or my kid didn't sleep last night or whatever it is. Or with my husband, he's not doing something I want him to do. The story in my head is that you're ignoring this on purpose or that you're, whatever it is. And that has just empowered me as a leader, as a wife. Even with my kids, now that they're getting older, I use that. And it is something that she shared that she uses in marriage and business. And I've used it ever since. And what it does is it disarms people in the face of potential conflict. It doesn't make it about them. It makes it about you. The story in my head is that you're frustrated. The story in my head is you're ignoring me, or the story in my head is you don't like me anymore. The story in my head is that whatever it is. And it just kind of takes out that tension and allows
context. So when you're listening to somebody, you're not hearing
yes. Yeah.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry. I was just literally the story in my head was Kelly and I have had those same conversations because she has a stressful job. Sometimes I come home and it can change the dynamic of a night.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're creating these stories. So
yeah. The story in my head is you're frustrated with me right now. And it's like, no, I just had a really hard day at work. And it truly is powerful and really important in relationships.
Man, that's just more good stuff. I know we've gone long, so I am going to jump to this last segment because this last segment is absolutely my favorite.
Awesome.
We'll make this one quick, though.
Okay.
This is called This Is My Athens.
Love it.
All right. So we talk about our favorite things about Athens and anything that you want to brag about.
Okay.
And it can't be ESP because we just bragged on it for 2 segments, right?
Right.
First of all, what is your favorite thing about Athens?
My favorite thing about Athens, gosh, I love all of it, but I think, the classic one is game day, but I think game day represents a series of other things. I think about Twilight. I think about the parades that we have. I think about Athfest. I think about anytime we're gathering people, we gather people so well and celebrate things so well. So I think it's everything from game days and tailgating to Twilight and Athfest and all the fun things that we get to do where we are gathered together and all enjoying one event together.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you about game day. I'm all in.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to just do one more because we did go long, but I have to ask this question. What is your favorite food/restaurant? And there's a lot of them, I know. But if it's your birthday, you can go anywhere you want. Where are you going to go?
So right now, I would say ZZ and Simone's.
Is that the new one there in 5 Points?
Yep. It's so
from,
good.
Grindhouse, right?
Yes. And I am like a red wine Italian girl all day long. And they have some of the best red Italian wines. And you just get like a couple small things and share it with the people that you're with. And they have amazing meatballs and amazing pizza and pasta. And it's just so good.
I'm going to have to go there with Kelly. I promise you, I want to say 2 episodes ago, somebody brought that up. So that's
just love Italian. I love De Palma's too. I'm a De Palma's fan.
Okay, fair enough.
So just give me some Italian. Give me some pasta.
So Laura, I know you got a lot going on, and I am going to assume that you've not heard an episode of the podcast.
I've heard one, Jake's.
Did you hear Jake's? Did you listen all the way to the end?
I think so.
Okay, here's why. When we sign off, we do something special.
Okay.
And so you're going to know what it is, and you can just join me. All right, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm just going to have fun with this.
You're not?
Okay.
All right. Okay.
But we do the calling of the dogs.
Love it.
All right. So this is exactly what it looks like. I just say, Athens, thank you for taking this ride with us. It was more fun than I expected. I will tell you that right now. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And until next time, go
dogs.
Sick 'em. Thank you.
Awesome. Easy peasy.
Okay, that concludes part 2 of this episode with ESP. Laura Whitaker, thank you so much for being a part of this. This has been a lot of fun today. Looking forward to hanging out here next year, 2023. We're going to be dropping an extra episode each month next year. We're going to call it the Classic City Business Podcast Extra. It's going to be totally focused on nonprofits and how they serve our community. That's going to be a lot of fun. ESP is going to be a big part of that. But guys, be sure to check us out next week. We have Paul Kramer from the Classic Center on. That episode was very much like this one with Laura. It was filled with a lot of good content. We had to split it up into 2 episodes. So be looking out for that. We'll see you then.
Okay, guys, we did it. We made it to the end of the show. Now that you've heard at least 1 episode, can you do me a favor? If you know someone you would like to hear on a future episode, you can contact us or have them contact us at podcastjohng@gmail.com or just message us on our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Just search the Classic City Business Podcast. You'll find us. One more thing. Please like, rate, review, and share. All of this really helps a lot. We really do want to connect our community to the local business owner. We believe this is a great platform to do just that. And thank you for taking this ride with us as we get to know the people behind the sign. It's going to be a lot of fun. In Athens, until next time, I'm John G. and go dogs.